Today we'll be coming to a final completion of the sutra, hopefully. Now let's carry on. Last time we stopped at this paragraph, and let me just read it out to you so that we know what we're talking about. Now, what do you think, O Sariputra? For what reason is that repetition treatise of the law called the favor of all Buddhas? Every son or daughter of a family who shall hear the name of that repetition of the law and retain in their memory the names of those blessed Buddhas will be favored by all Buddhas and will never return again, being ones in possession of the transcendent belief, accept and do not doubt of me and those blessed Buddhas. In this paragraph, Buddha Sakyamuni is continuing repeating that it is extremely important that on the verge of death, we should invoke the name, chant the name of Amitabha. Not only that, when we are alive, when we are healthy, we should be training ourselves in our mind to repeatedly recite the name Amitabha. It's just like tuning our radio all the time so that our tuning, our frequency is used that grand universal station where we can put it on tune all the time, but always stay tuned all the time. People, sentient beings who are received by the Buddha, Amitabha, into that land will never retrogress again into this world. Being once in possession of the transcendent believe, accept, and do not doubt of me and those blessed Buddhas. English is strict translation from the Sanskrit. So the translator has to maintain the original meaning of the transcript. And that transcript was translated almost about 100 years ago. So the English is a little different from now. But modern English is not quite the same as when Max Muller translated this. But we maintain the original transcript translation. So we didn't change it, but we have to get the general idea of it. I just want to remind you, Amitabha is also called Amitayus. Amita means immeasurable or boundless. Ba means light. So Amitabha means immeasurable light Buddha. Wu Liang, Guang. Yus means immeasurable or infinite life. Longevity. So Amitabha Buddha, the Buddha of boundless light, Amitayus Buddha, the Buddha of infinite life. And both are the same. One is also called the other. And this is symbolizing light, symbolizing wisdom, and infinite life, lifetime, symbolizing all the merits accrued, all the good merits accrue to the Buddha. Next, whatever sons or daughters of a family shall make mental prayer for the Buddha country of the blessed Amitayus, the Tathagata, or are making it now, or have made it formally, all these will never return again, being once in possession of the transcendent true knowledge. They will be born in that Buddha country, have been born or now being born now. Therefore then, O Sariputra, mental prayer is to be made for that Buddha country by faithful sons and daughters of a family. That means there are already a lot of sentient beings who have already been reborn in there. Not just you and me, we're striving to go there after we die. We all have to die anyway. If we died, where would we go? We'll be rolling into the next life with our karma. Where would the next life be? I will tell you in another slide. When a person dies, then he's going to reincarnate into the next karmic body. Who determines the reincarnation? God? Or the Buddha? No. You yourself. All your actions, all your speeches, all those that you created for yourself, all those behavior, bad behavior, good speech, bad speech, you make your own future. You pave your own way. Are you paving your way to hell? Are you paving your way to the land of bliss, happiness? Are you paving the way to sainthood? Are you paving the way to enlightenment? You determine it, not God. Nothing to do with God, it's you. So are you not? Be careful with your actions and speech. Every action, every speech creates karma. And that karma follow you like the memory chip of a computer. It never leaves you. So anything, any seeds that you have sowed, you carry them yourself. So be careful. That's why the Buddha always say, be careful with every single thought. Not just action and speech. Every thought has a karmic energy. And some are hidden energy, some are review energy, a revelation of it. The hidden energy are the seeds, that's your thought. But the hidden energy, a thought, what would a thought produce? Speech or action. When it becomes speech or action, it's an apparent karmic energy. So every thought, speech, and action all produces energy. And karmic energy. What's the nature of this karmic energy? It's either good, generally. If it's either good, bad, or neutral. What do you like to produce? You always want to produce bad energy, like you always get into killing, sexual misconduct, lying, intoxicating. You always get into greediness, fear, disappointment, anxiety, jealousy, hatred, violence. You all breed your own, you all sow your own seeds. Be careful with them. So that's what it is. A lot of sentient beings were already born in there, and there are sentient beings who are striving to be born in there. So they are chanting, they're training themselves to chant up that name already. Let's go to the next slide. And as I at present magnify here the inconceivable excellences of those blessed Buddhas, thus, O Sariputra, to those blessed Buddhas magnify my own inconceivable excellences. That means when Sakyamuni Buddha was lecturing on Amitabha's Pure Land, glorifying Amitabha's Pure Land, and the other Buddhas also glorifying Sakyamuni's land in here, magnifying all these inconceivable excellences. There are Buddhas of the 6 directions. There are many, many Buddhas. Not just one Buddha, you know. There's millions of Buddhas. What are Buddhas that enlighten beings? We are unenlightened. When you are enlightened, you are Buddha. You are away from life and death, no more suffering. So you are a potential Buddha. Some people like to call Buddha a God. Then you are a potential God. That is the God in you. That is the potential of being God in you. And don't forget about that. Because all the other Buddhas are also glorifying Sakyamuni's land. Sakyamuni's land is here. The land that we are residing in is a land of mixture of happiness and suffering. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're suffering, sometimes you're sad. It's a mixture of it. But more suffering than happiness. Whether there's suffering or happiness, they're all ephemeral, all short-lived, impermanent. A very difficult work has been done by Sakyamuni, teaching in here, in this world, the sovereign of the Sakyas. Sakyamuni Buddha belonged to the sovereign of the Sakyas at that time, in that family. Having obtained the transcendent true knowledge in this world, Saha, he taught the law which all the world is reluctant to accept. It's very difficult to accept the Buddha's teaching, especially in this Dharma ending stage. It's not easy to accept. There are 3 epochs of the Dharma, of the Buddha's teaching, 3 periods or 3 kalpas. But let's finish with this, and then I'll show you one of the 3 periods of the Buddha's teaching. So the word Saha, that means endurances of suffering. He taught the law which all the world is reluctant to accept. During this corruption of the present kalpa, kalpa is a unit of time, a very inconceivably long period of time, millions of years. During this corruption of mankind, during this corruption of belief, during this corruption of life, and during this corruption of passions. So there are 5 corruptions that we have. Kalpa is a time, corruption of mankind, That means corruption of reincarnation, the 6 paths of reincarnation. Corruption of belief, corruption of life, and corruption of passions. We have all these corruptions. And all these corruptions lead us to samsara, life and death. And we'll go over this corruption in another slide. And we call the kalpa corruption of life, of mankind. And we know that the earth is unsafe and fragile. The Buddha says there comes a time after a lapse of thousands of years when it would cease to rain and vegetable and animal life would be destroyed. He also speaks of the times when the earth, including the biggest of mountains, which appear so stable, would go up in flame and smoke. Today we know that sun and stars, if collide, would become cosmic hydrogen bombs, flare up and explode, burning up the planet and affecting neighboring solar systems. That's already spoken by the Buddha 2,600 years ago. The world will coming to a destruction. But I don't think we can see that in this century. Probably we can't see it. We don't want to see it in 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. The destruction of the worlds would only come at the end of an epoch or eon called kalpa. So that's why we call it the kalpa. The cosmos undergoes 2 major periods of change in time called the eons of expansion and contraction. The eons of expansion is the period in which the universe unfolds itself, open out, Vedanta kalpa. Kalpa is a Pali word. In the Sanskrit, it's kalpa. The other is the one in which the universe closes in and is destroyed, Samatha kalpa. Also known as the 4 stages of the universe. The kalpa of expansion, the kalpa in which it remains in a state of expansion, the kalpa of contraction, the kalpa in which it stays contracted. So this is the corruption of kalpa, the corruption of time. In terms of time, everything is coming to an end and then it begins again. When it comes to an end, it does not mean that it's an end. When it comes to an end, there's another beginning. It's just like when we die, it does not mean you don't have you anymore. It's not a total destruction of you. It's the beginning of you in your next life. When you carry your karmic energy, when you are not enlightened, when you're not the Buddha yet, you're not enlightened, you carry your karma to the next life. So when a person dies, it's not just the end of you. It's the beginning of another you. But you roll into the next body again, you go through the same suffering again, depends on what you have done. You carry your own karma through. So this is the corruption of the kalpa. Regarding time, there is the past, the present, and the future. The past is already gone. The present, you experience it right now, and every second becomes the past. So there's no present, because every present, when I'm talking about here now, every second, it takes to the past. The future hasn't come. So we don't have a future yet. The future hasn't come. How can you have the future if the future hasn't come? The past is gone. The present is becoming the past. So we're in a delusion of time. We think we're living in a time that is stagnant. We think we're living in a time that is almost like impermanent. We don't have a time, actually. The time is just a denomination, a delusory denomination concept. It takes all the time. It goes on and on and on until we finally come to a destruction, and we call it death. But that death is also the beginning of another life. We call it being reborn again, birth. So we're always going in a cycle. Now we've been talking about kalpas. We're talking about the 3 periods of the Dharma. The Buddha's teaching appear in 3 periods. The actual Dharma epoch, or the kalpa. This first stage corresponds to the time of Sakyamuni Buddha, when his teachings were easily accessed and people could gain enlightenment in one's lifetime. During the actual Dharma stage, people get enlightened so easily. The arahats, after listening to the Buddhas for a very short time, they could get enlightened very easily at that time. That is the actual Dharma age for 500 years. Since the Sakyamuni Buddha, for 500 years, approximately the length of time for the actual Dharma epoch is 500 years. And then there is a second epoch, the Dharma resembling epoch. The second stage was after Sakyamuni Buddha and all his disciples passed away, when the teachings were harder to access and successfully practice. 2,000 years. For 2,000 years, it's getting more and more difficult to learn and to practice it because of the complexities of life, because of the multiplicity of emotions and passions breeding up in one's mind. And finally, there's the Dharma ending stage, Dharma ending age. This is the last stage when Sakyamuni Buddha's teaching are extremely distant, remote, and difficult to achieve. That's for 10,000 years. Now, where are we now? We are in the beginning of the Dharma ending age. That means the Buddhist teaching is getting more and more remote and distant, getting more and more difficult to learn. More and more people do not have the diligence or the wisdom to learn the Buddhist teaching. What would they be learning? They would be learning materialistic lifestyle. They were learning how to better their senses satisfaction. The eyes, the ears, the nose, the taste, the touch, the body. They are looking for pleasures, sensual pleasures. And in the process of looking for it, they create a lot of karma. They're breeding up a lot of those and carrying them into another round of karmic reincarnations all the time in samsara, in life and death. And that would last for 10,000 years. And then finally, the world will come to a destruction. And then, anything that's coming to an end will be going to have a beginning again. And then at that time, Maitreya Buddha will be born in this world to revitalize the teaching. Right now, the historical Buddha in this world is Sakyamuni Buddha, historically, according to human history. As a true Buddha, according to human history, history witness it. We have Sakyamuni Buddha. The next Buddha, after thousands of years, will be Maitreya Buddha coming here, coming to this world. Who is this Maitreya Buddha? The laughing Buddha with the big belly. When you enter the temple, in the garden, there is a big belly Buddha laughing, and that will be the next Buddha, the future Buddha. But that will be after thousands of years, when we're all gone and reincarnate. Maitreya Buddha will be coming out for the next round of the Dharma. So this is the destruction of the Kalpa. We're talking about destruction of mankind, not just the destruction of mankind. When we die, we roll into the next life, with the next karmic body, with our karma that we created ourselves. So it depends on the karmic energy we created when we were alive. We could reincarnate into the animal realm. We could create into the hell realm, hell victims, reincarnate as human beings again. Even as human beings, we're different. Everybody is different. How come? Even in the same realm, how come everybody is different? Because your karma that you created yourself, everybody is different. You watch your karma. Next, let's get to the last sentence now. This is even for me, O Sariputra, an extremely difficult work that, having obtained the transcendent true knowledge in the world Saha, I taught the law which all the world is reluctant to accept. During this corruption of mankind, of belief, of passion, of life, and of this present Kalpa, it is extremely difficult to believe in the Buddhist teaching. The Buddha already said it. Extremely difficult. Next. Thus spoke Bhagavat joyful in his mind, and the Honorable Sariputra, and the bhikshus and bodhisattvas, and the whole world of the gods, men, evil spirits, and jinni applauded the speech of Bhagavat. So that's the end of the sutra. All those who were in high spirit after listening to it, all the gods, meaning guardian angels, they're not enlightened as yet, but they're guardian angels, they're gods. And men and evil spirit and good spirit and evil spirit, they all applauded, and this the speech of the Bhagavat. Bhagavat is Buddha. Oh, this is the end.